those type of attractions will attract other businesses to the city. And so that is why I'm running. So, hey, vote for Renee.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank all of the council candidates for their participation, and I would like to invite the mayoral candidates to come take their places for our second round. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for being here. Thank you again.
Questions, I will pose the same one to all four of you. I will switch order, reverse order, so that in the issue of equality. And to start off with a brief introduction. So tell us how long you've lived in Converse, what brought you to the city, and tell us what you think makes for a good mayor. I'll start with you, John Shadron.
Oh, now it's on. I'll start over again. My name is John Shadron. I've lived in Converse for 40 years. The Air Force brought me here. I served in the Air Force for 10 and a half years. I was in a unit called Social Actions, and what we did is we taught race relations, equal opportunity, and then substance abuse. My main objective in that was substance abuse, although I did do some race relation training also. Any other part of the question? I'm sorry.
What do you think makes for a good mayor?
Gotcha. And I'd also like to mention I've been married to my wife for 29 years now. I have a son, Joshua, who just turned 19. He is attending Texas A&M in College Station. What makes a good mayor? A good mayor is someone that can work with all individuals. They're open to suggestions. They're transparent. They don't try to belittle people. They don't try to bully people. And I think that this is one of the things that in this election that people should be looking at closely and when they make their choice.
Thank you. Mayor Suarez, same question.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for stopping by and joining us this evening. I was stationed here at Randolph in the mid-'80s. I was an air traffic controller. This was one of my bases here. I was here for 6 years, so I was very familiar with the area. And then when I retired in '96, I decided to move the family here to Converse. That's what, because I was so familiar with the area. I'm a air traffic controller by trade, moved here in November '96, served for the Air Force for 21 years. I was in law enforcement specialist for 4 years and air traffic controller for 17 years. I'm a Desert Shield, Desert Storm veteran. I also had the opportunity to work with the Berry County Criminal District and County Courts for 23 years. And I have earned an associate degree in airway science, an associate degree in security administration, a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminal justice and corrections, a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology, behavioral management, a Master of Arts degree in criminal justice management and administration, I'm also a graduate of the United States Air Force Security Police Academy at Lackland Air Force Base. I'm also an honor graduate of the United States Air Force Air Traffic Control Academy. I'm the former chairman and vice chairman of the Northeast Partnership for Economic Development. I'm also the former president of the Judson Education Foundation for 12 years. I'm a former Joint Base San Antonio Randolph Air Force Base honorary commander. I am the former vice chair of the San Antonio Orthopedic Group Foundation, and I'm the current chairman of the Greater Bexar County Council of Cities, a 28-city mayors organization. We meet every month with all the mayors in Bexar County, 28 cities. I'm also currently on the Alamo Area Council of Governments Board of Directors, ACOG, a 13-county government organization working with 13 counties. I have established close partnerships with leaderships of CPS Energy, SAWS, Judson ISD, Alamo Colleges, TxDOT, Barrett San Antonio MPO, ACOG, to include all the federal, state, county, and all municipality elected officials. Also served as the Emergency Management Director during COVID-19 and all recent weather storms that we had. What makes a good mayor? Citizen contact. Number one, citizen customer service. You have to make sure that the people engage, that the government engages with their people. Otherwise, all these facilities, all the fire stations, these knife facilities don't mean anything if the people do not engage and do not feel comfortable engaging with their government. And so for me, that is the biggest thing that makes a good mayor, is to ensure that that happens.
Thank you. Mark Gilbert, same opportunity.
Good evening to all, and thank you for hosting this once again. Appreciate that. It's good to see so many of the residents here in person to see this firsthand. And I'd also like to say a welcome to all of those who are live streaming as well. Thank you. The residents are the backbone of this city. I'm Mark Gilbert. I've lived in Converse for 25 years. I was in the Air Force for 24 years, moved here on the second time that the Air Force stationed me here at Randolph Air Force Base. I retired out of Lackland, and I immediately joined the EDC, Economic Development Corporation here in Converse, where I served on that board for 6 years, the last 4 of which I was the president of the board of directors there. In 2018, I was appointed to the city council to fill an empty spot, and I served on the council for the next 6 years. 2 of those years, I was the mayor pro tem. I currently am the city's representative for the Canyon Regional Water Authority, where we get our water. While on council, I was the liaison for nearly every commission that we have. Charter Review, Parks and Environmental, Planning and Zoning, the old Historic and Preservation Commission that was eventually joined up with the Parks and Rec. I was on the Charter Review Commission as a member back in 2017, and I was the council liaison for that same commission in 2022. My educational background, I have an associate's degree in personnel management from the Community College of the Air Force. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration from Wayland Baptist University. I have a master's degree in leadership and management from Webster University, and I'm currently trying to finish my dissertation for my PhD in organizational leadership from the University of the Incarnate Word. The position of mayor is an interesting one. It starts with being a leader. To be a leader, you must connect with the residents of the city, because the ultimate goal is moving the city forward towards a better future. As that goes, my personal belief is that my best style of leadership is servant leader, where I work directly with those in the city, not just the staff, but the residents themselves. It's a great feeling to get out there and meet the residents themselves and hear their stories, so I'm not hearing them secondhand. I'm getting it directly from them. All of this gives me a rather unique perspective on being a mayor. I've witnessed firsthand so many different issues. I believe that a mayor should demand leadership from himself first and foremost and lead from the front with transparency and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you. Emilio Silva, same opportunity, please.
Sure. So you asked a couple of questions. What brought me to Congress? The answer is my wife, sitting in the audience. She was the EDC director for many years, and so we moved here from San Antonio for that opportunity, and we remained. And you also asked what makes for a good mayor. And I would have to agree with many of my opponents up here that essentially it is an opportunity to connect with the community through your leadership. So citizens need to feel comfortable reaching out to a mayor who will then hear them and then bring their desires, complaints, needs, whatever it might be, forward. And then, of course, work with the rest of the council and staff to be able to make those things happen or explain why it's not possible. Ultimately, the citizens have to feel empowered by their leadership, and that makes them feel that their government is working on their behalf. Thank you.
Thank you. We solicited questions from city residents, and I'm going to give those priority over ones that I dreamed up in an academic office. And I'll start with you, Emilio Silvas. What is your strategy to improve our law enforcement to effectively protect and serve our city, given the rapid housing developments and population increase?
So we do have a large increase of housing, especially along 15, 16. So in terms of being able to increase our policing, I would say one of the chief concerns that I've heard voiced is being able to retain existing staff as opposed to leaving. There is no greater champion that you're going to have for someone than someone that's already doing the job. All right, so I ran for the school board several years ago, and it was the same same question. I made the same commentary. You have people that go to the school and they're teachers and they leave. Same thing happens here. We have staff that come here that are police officers and after a while they leave. But if you can find a way to retain them, keep them here, they will be your strongest advocates for new police officers to want to come here. Essentially, you want to be able to recruit the best fit staff, and police officers are quite frankly, they're the most important. They not only provide public safety, but obviously they're the ones that are in touch with the community the most, more than anyone else. So I would strengthen the ability for us to be able to keep police officers, and then ultimately they will work with new recruits, and those recruits will want to stay. And eventually our reputation will be that this is a police department where police officers wants to go.
Mark Gilbert, same question about public safety.
My answer to that question falls under three topics. The first is numbers. The city of Converse has grown so significantly astronomically actually, since I moved here 25 years ago. We're well over 30,000 at this point, and some estimates coming from the state say that by the year 2040, we'll be up close to 50,000 residents. We must be able to keep up the number of police officers to accommodate that many residents. The police officers we have currently do an excellent job. They are top-notch, and we just need to make sure that we find avenues to pay for additional officers. In addition to the sheer number, education and training is going to be paramount to the success of not only the police department, but the entire city staff. Case in point, one of the officers a few years ago was selected to attend a specialized training with the FBI at the FBI Academy in Quantico. Very prestigious event, And when he came back, he thanked the mayor and the council for helping to make this happen. And he turned around and spread his knowledge to the majority of the officers that were there to give them an idea of what exactly he went through. And that one educational outreach turned out to be a force multiplier within our own police department. We need to search for more opportunities such as that. And the third point is something that I just mentioned there, outreach. I believe Mr. Silva's already also mentioned it, the contact with the residents is extremely important to the success overall of the police department and therefore the city itself. Many times the first and possibly only contact that some will have with the city staff is through the police department, whether for good or for bad. Right now, our police department does an excellent job of outreach. I would like to see that extended further. Let's grow that along with the police department itself. As the department grows, the outreach needs to grow along with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Suarez, same question about improving law enforcement and public safety.
Okay, first of all, public safety for me has to be number one priority. This is one of the reasons I did move here in Converse. I did my research and wanted to bring my family and raise my family in a safe city. I did talk to the police chief at the time, and he said that that the city council gives high priority to the public safety, the fire and police, and that's what we do here in Converse. I work very closely with Chief Lane. I do understand his job. It's one of my specialties. I do understand what he's doing. I do understand his needs. As a matter of fact, throughout my tenure here, I was able to secure the first body cameras for the police department that would protect the police officer and that would protect the citizen first time. So Converse had the first body cameras when it first became available back in 2009, 2010, when they were first talking about them. We were able to secure the first body cameras in Berry County. So, and then also too, when the Columbine attack up north happened, we made sure that our officers, we changed the thinking of our officers that we have to be ready to respond. So we made sure that every officer had the appropriate firepower to be able to deal with the situation, not have to wait for SWAT teams and not have to wait for backup. And recently, we have a speeding problem in Converse, and that is acknowledged. We have a lot of growth in the areas. We have a lot of roads being worked on, I-35, 1604. So a lot of traffic flows through Converse just to get through to avoid I-35. So I talked to Police Chief Lane. We were able to secure 2 motorcycles to deal with the traffic, and now we're up to 4. And we recognize there is a problem, a speeding problem in Converse, and that's where it goes working together. Now we're looking at situations of a lot of residents are using the parks. So now we have to think big. We have to figure out a way to work with the police department to secure our parks, because the citizens have to feel safe in our parks, and they don't have to, shouldn't have to call anybody. They should already be there. So we're working with Chief Lane to come up with some ideas, whether it be park rangers or local resources, something to make the citizens safe, because people move here for a reason, you know, and you know, when your population triples from 11,500 to over 35,000, they're moving here for a reason. This is a safe city, and I compliment the PD. They do work hard, and I agree with some of the other comments that we need to do whatever we can to make sure that the PD and the fire department receives the highest competitive pay that they're due. And I emphasize that they're due because they risk their lives every day, every time they respond, and also that they provide the best resources possible, the best vehicles, the best equipment. We're able to get new police cars. We're able to get new ambulances for the fire department. The fire department carries whole blood now. So we're blessed to have the 2 best chiefs in the state, if not the country. The police chief and the fire chief, and they work together with the community, they work together with the city council, and they're very frugal with their spending too. They only request what they need, and that's commendable to them. And my hat's off to them. But public safety should always be the number one priority for any city, because without that, nothing matters. If the citizens don't feel safe, nothing else matters in the city. So,
Thank you. John Shadron, same question about public safety, law enforcement.
Well, I've been in sort of a unique situation that I was a police officer for 5 years before I decided it wasn't the career for me. I remember when I first moved to Converse, I would see a police officer every hour pass my house. Every hour. Today, I'm lucky to see one pass my house maybe once a day. The city has gotten so big, we have so few officers. My understanding is we're supposed to have a 1 per 5,000 population. We don't have that. We're short of police officers. They do the best they can with the manpower they have. They have a program called the Neighborhood Watch Program. It's a program where neighborhoods get together. They do sort of security checks in their neighborhood. They log it in, and after 3 months, they get a sign placed on their streets saying that they're in a Neighborhood Watch Program. My understanding is we have none in this community, not one. I believe I'm going to be the first one to start one. I have my neighbors are interested in it. And I understand, talking to the police department, the main reason we don't get any attention to pushing the Neighborhood Watch Program is because of lack of leadership, lack of the mayor and council supporting such a program. It's a shame because it gets people involved. It gets people looking out for each other. We need to do more in the city of Converse. We need more police officers. We need better security. And in the past, we've been short of police officers, and the excuse I've heard is they left because of our mayor. And at one time, we were short 10 police officers not too long ago. But we do have a police chief that's getting them out of the academy now, so we're not having to wait to do the interview process to go out and look for police officers. So we've been able to fill those voids a lot quicker than we have in the past.
Thank you. The other question that came from residents is similar, but notably different. I want to start with you, John, and work in the opposite direction. Please explain your plan to improve streets, sidewalks, and street lighting. How much progress have we made in these recently?
That's kind of interesting because that's the reason I got in the mayor's race. I live in a subdivision and several subdivisions around me. The streets are horrible. We have 2-inch gaps in the street. We have hackberry trees growing out of the street. We have greener grass growing out of the street that's in my yard. Sidewalks have little trees coming out of it. Nothing's been done in several years in my subdivision, and that's also going into other subdivisions. Again, when I first moved into Converse, they had a street maintenance program. They had street crews go around and kill the grass in the street, take the tar and fill in the cracks, and when the roads go, so does the neighborhood. People, when the city quits caring about the infrastructure, it seems that people quit caring about their homes. The city seems to take when a neighborhood goes down, deteriorates, they leave it, they abandon it, they don't come back. As I said, in my neighborhood, streets have been horrible for years, and that's one of the major complaints of the citizens in my neighborhood. And it's also complaints of citizens in other neighborhoods are dealing with the same problem. Yeah, they have a road plan to fix roads at a certain time of year, but the only problem is they can't keep up with it. They had this bond issue that passed a few years ago. They went and repaved all the streets. And now what's happening today is all the streets are failing, and there's not the money to fix them.
Thank you. Mayor Suarez, same question.
Yeah, I'd have to disagree with Mr. Shadron. We did spend $10.1 million during the bond to repave to pay majority of the streets in Converse. We do have a public works director that evaluates all the streets on on an annual basis. And at that time, after we did the bond, I remember having a conversation with the city manager that these streets are going to go bad at the same time because we did so much work and it came out very well. So we created the street maintenance tax, which you might not be aware of. The street maintenance tax was created where we split EDC's tax. They were getting half a cent. Now they get a quarter, and the street maintenance tax gets a quarter cent specifically to maintain the existing streets. So right now it equates to over $1 million. So over $1 million is given to the public works director, and he runs the program to repair existing streets. He runs a list. You know, unfortunately, streets is very expensive. Very expensive. It's very expensive. Streets will never be solved. It's a continuous process. You know, it's one of those things where you put $1 million, and we put 10.5 million, 20.1 million, and now we have a street maintenance tax where everybody that spends in Congress pays for the streets basically through a quarter cent tax. And we get it annually, and the public works director has his evaluation of all the Converse streets and repairs the sidewalks and the streets with that $1 million plus that he receives. So, you know, he works very hard, but unfortunately, it is a tough. And if you look around, you see a lot of. You drive around, and it's very unfortunate, and it hurts me to see where a resident has to, they have the foundation trucks out front, you know, and they're pounding away trying to fix the foundations. It's the same as the streets. You know, the red clay in this area continues to move, and then, you know, you repair a street, and then a year later it's cracked, you know, so we have the additional problem of having to deal with the drought right now too as well. And it's causing a lot of damage to our water lines, it's causing a lot of damage to our streets. And Public Works Director is doing, he should be commended. He's doing as best he can with the resources he has. And I believe that when you have $1 million, that's a lot of resources to be able to spend and address. But unfortunately, like I said, it's a very hard process to maintain the roads here. And I can drive you to any city and find the same problems, and they're having the same problems we are. You know, it's just usually the most expensive process of every city to deal with. But we have a solution, the street maintenance tax.
The solution's not working, Mayor. I invite you to visit my neighborhood.
I don't run the Public Works Department.
Thank you. Mark Gilbert, same question about streets, sidewalks, and street lighting.
Those two, the previous two have pretty much said a lot about the streets and the sidewalks. I'd like to attack the lighting issue. I've heard from multiple residents over my years as a council member and while getting out and meeting residents over the past year or so, and the question of lighting continues to come up. And we do need to ensure that we stay on the radar with City Public Service that provides the lighting for us, and with Joint Base San Antonio Randolph, because we have to, as a city, we have to go through them when it comes to lighting to ensure that we do not cause an inordinate amount of light pollution for the night flying for the mission on Randolph. So that is a very important issue that we have looked at in the past, and that if I am mayor, I will continue to do so. The last thing I want to talk about on the streets issue is not so much the overall street issue, but particular street issues, specific one in particular that encapsulates the frustrations of many residents of the city of Converse, and that would be Tupperwine Road. The issue of Tupperwine has been a long-standing issue, far earlier than from when I got here. I come to find out. I sat down and talked with a couple of residents recently who expressed not only dismay and disappointment, but a genuine hurting over the fact that they moved into the neighborhood near Kitty Hawk and Tupperwine back in 1984, I believe. And as a young couple, they went to city council meetings, and they heard the council at that point talking about the expansion of Tupperwine Road. Here it is 41 years later, and they still have no relief on that issue. One of the first things I plan to do as mayor is to make if it's not done prior, we have to get that done. Tupperwine has been, like I said, has been on the books for over 40 years now. When I was on the EDC, I met with several developers, business owners, those types of individuals, and one issue that they kept harping on was the lack of infrastructure, as in roads leading into and out of the city. We've completed Rocket Lane. Congratulations from us. We need to look at the lessons learned from all the issues that went with Rocket Lane and build a constructive plan to finish Tupperwine in a speedy manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Emilio Silva, same question about streets, sidewalks, street lighting.
Sure, I'll start with streets. Many of the topics that have been, many of the answers that we've heard here are many of the same ones that I would offer. Tupperwine, I live right off of Tupperwine. I live and see it every day. I avoid it whenever I can. Not because I don't like the street, but because it has its challenges. Primarily, it is a very clear sign to the citizens that while we may talk about taking these things seriously, we don't actually do them. Decades long waiting for Tupperwine. I also have spoken with residents who've lived here for 40 years, and they also have bemoaned how long it takes for Tupperwine to be completed. Same thing for Rocket Lane. If you go further down 1516, there's a road between 1516 and 1604 that's not even finished. And the residents in that area were expecting that auxiliary road to be able to cross over from 1516 onto 1604, relieving traffic there. So what they see and what I see myself is we have infrastructure challenges and we don't really work hard to achieve them. We talk about them, but we don't actually make them happen. You want to know what I would do? I would find a way to address our roads locally. I have seen that some cities have adopted programs where they have purchased equipment. They have taught their staff how to maintain the roads instead of hiring third-party construction people, lowering the overall cost to maintain roads to a small fraction of what it would normally cost. That is absolutely something that we can do. I've spoken with contractors for lighting that work with cities, and they have told me that Congress has quite frankly said, we don't want to talk to you. It's very hard when I talk to a resident and I tell them, well, we don't have lights on your street because the city's not going to put one here. Lifelong residents who are literally half a block away from FM 78 and their street is dark. That means that neighborhood has been dark for a very long time. The infrastructure improvements are necessary not just for residents, but also for businesses. Business owners I've spoken to are not happy about the roads either. They're so, the way I put it is they're non-sexy things, right? These are just the most boring things you could talk about, asphalt. But the reality is, without that kind of lifeblood within a community, you can't get anywhere. It takes you forever to get out of your neighborhoods. I've spoken with a resident who waits 30 minutes in the morning to get out of his neighborhood to get onto FM 1516, and he does not like it. And he certainly wasn't happy when I told him that there's a neighborhood just 5 minutes north of him with more residents coming in because there's entire blocks of houses being built. We've grown really fast, and we clearly didn't plan for it. As mayor, I promised the cities that I will, within the first 100 days, deliver an infrastructure plan, both for roads and lighting. Is that aggressive? Yes. Do residents expect it? Yes, because they're tired of waiting. The reality is, I walk up to people's houses and I say, hi, my name is. The first thing they do is point at their road and say, look at that crack in front of my road. It's an accident waiting to happen. So I don't think that we can afford to ignore the infrastructure problem. It is absolutely not incumbent upon staff to do that. That's why the citizens elect a mayor and city council. And they expect those individuals to act on their behalf. And I certainly would as well. Thank you.
Thank you. This question I'd like to start with you, Emilio. What should the City of Converse government do more of? And a rare question in government, what should it do less of?
I would say the City of Converse government should work really hard at being as transparent as possible. It's a very easy thing to say, but in practice, it's much more difficult. And I am not saying that members of council are not transparent. I think they do what they can, when they can, and they engage the public. That's incredibly important. Without that level of transparency, an opportunity to be able to talk to your elected leaders, citizens don't know the issues that are in front of them. Why are we doing something? Why has something not happened? That is the hardest thing to explain to someone. I want something and you're trying to tell me I can't have it. I need to understand why, right? So that's something that the city, through its council, needs to do more of. What does it have to do less of? It's kind of an inverse answer for you. I would say stop telling people what the answer is and start really asking, what are the issues in front of you? And it's important because citizens live in their neighborhoods every single day. And the city has adopted several plans. I don't know why several of them are necessarily in front of us. I'm certain there are conversations. I am certain they're well-intentioned, but they don't necessarily serve citizens. So not necessarily come with a solution, but try to find what is the problem, working with residents to craft a solution after you've identified the problem. So that's how I would answer it.
Thank you. Mark Gilbert, same question.
I believe the city needs to, in the case of what the city should do more of, a couple of things. First is education. The council, for example, is required to obtain 10 hours of education during the calendar year. The last two charter review commissions, the issue has come up where the commissions discuss extending that those number of hours from 10 to either 15 or 20. The reason for that is education is the foundation of doing the actual job as far as the council goes. Case in point, 2 years ago, we had 3 brand new council members elected to the seats. 2 other council members at that time had either 1 year or 6 months in their particular seats. The education curve for them was very steep. And I commend them for going out and obtaining more than the required amount of hours necessary that is provided by the charter. Each of them, to a person, went out and took extra hours until they felt more comfortable in their particular seats. I believe that can be extended from just the council to the city staff as well, with under their auspices, however they would like to do it within their departments. Not every department is going to need the same amount of education that another might need. But if we can provide a path to furthering education within the staff, that's only going to help the city as a whole. Another thing is, I touched on before, was outreach. The city needs to do a better job of meeting the citizens where they're at. We provide several avenues to get information out to the residents. Not all of those avenues work for everybody. Each individual has a different way of trying to learn, trying to gather information. We need to continue, we need to expand the way we reach out and get information to our residents. As far as less of, what I believe the city needs to do less of is what ends up being stagnation. We need to move forward as a group, as a city, as Team Converse. We tend to stagnate as a city with what ends up being a lack of teamwork within the city itself. I don't want to get into personal attacks or anything, or he said, she said, but suffice it to say, we as a team, Team Converse, need to come together to do a better job of moving our city forward and out of stagnation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Suarez, same thing. What should Congress do more of, and what should it do less of?
Well, I can tell you that as far as transparency, we're doing our part. We're doing better than a lot of other cities in comparison. We post our agendas for the meetings. The law says 3 days. We do it 4 days, and that way the citizens can see it online. We do post it on the website. The citizens can see what kind of business that we're going to be completing that day, and if they want to show and have some input, citizens to be heard, they can provide, or they can call their council member, or call us, and we'll give them their input. They'll give us their input. We can do that. We do mail a newsletter. We created a newsletter many years ago where we mail a newsletter on a quarterly basis to all the citizens in Congress. We don't put it on the stands. We mail it to them directly, and we keep them posted of all the new changes, all the events, and all the phone numbers and how to get a hold of the staff, and basically give them a good picture straight to their home, so they're aware of what we're doing here at the government, as a government facility. We do stream our city council meetings live. That's something new that we did several years ago as well. We stream them live, just like we're streaming this live. The citizens are able to sit home and watch the meetings. They're able to watch this program, and we also videotape them to where once we're done here, they can watch the video. You know, they can watch the video anywhere. They can watch it on their cell phone, they can watch it from home. So that's big transparency there, to be able to reach out to the citizens, let them know that this is a business we're doing, and they don't have time. They still have opportunities to see what we're doing, because these are made for their convenience. Those that have Spectrum, Channel 21, we secured Channel 21 Spectrum to play the videos of the city council meetings over and over, or any events that we record. So that's another way that we reach out to the citizens. We're always thinking of ways to reach out to the citizens. I have mayors call twice a month. I've always had that. Citizens come see me on the second and fourth Saturday of every month between 8 and 10. And no appointments ever needed, and they can get updates on any project, and give us our complaints, tell us how we're doing, tell us what we're not doing, and maintain the transparency through that as well. We do encourage all the departments, fire department, police department, library, to stream their Facebook Live. Give the people the information, let them know, and go out there and make contact with the department. That's happened a lot with the fire department, and especially our community officer, police officer that does that a lot, does a great job doing that with the public. And so we're doing everything we can. And what we need to do less of, we need to be less restrictive. You know, people I know that we're hard on code compliance, and it needs to be at times, but we just need to be, do the human approach and work towards compliance, as opposed to giving people citations, doing things like that. We need to help those that can't help themselves, and do less of trying to bully them, if you will. You know, just try to help them out. Because there's a lot of residents that are seniors that can't, unable to fix their fences, things like that, and we need to reach out more to them.
Thank you. John Shadron, same question, please.
You know, it's funny, you had mentioned recently that we don't have any code compliance problems in the city. I assure you, Mayor, if you drive around, we do. One of the things that we need to do more of is communicate. This room should be packed tonight. A lot of people didn't have a clue that you could write a question and submit it tonight. People walked in there and said, and you only received 2 questions. Out of a population of 30,000 people, got to be more than two people wanting to ask questions. But it wasn't publicized right. The information wasn't put out there. We need to be transparent. When we have events, we need to let the people know. Movie in the park had only a handful of people in it, and it should have been packed with kids. And other events, the firemen and the police officers had a baseball game. Nobody was there but a few handful of Converse citizens, and most of them are probably in this room right here. And that's a shame, because this was a chance to watch the 2 groups of employees really have a good time and really razz at each other. Yeah, I mean, it was really entertaining. And what we need to do less of is making promises and not keeping them. I mean, all sorts of promises were made on Rocket Lane, when it was going to be done. Citizens were misled. Same thing with Tupperwine Road. People are being misled. They're not keeping in the loop. And that road was supposed to be done years and years and years ago, but it just kept getting laid off, and laid off. And so what we have today is the same situation. I believe the Converse magazine said it was going to be starting this fall. We'd start construction. Well, the year's almost over, and I haven't seen an inch of dirt turned over. So we need to be more transparent. We need to make promises that we can't keep when we talk to the public.
Thank you. I'd like to give each of you a chance for some closing comments. Please limit it to 2 minutes each, and we'll start with you, Emilio.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, I appreciate the public coming out and listening to this very important discussion about the future of our community. I don't think that anyone would want to hear that there are problems in their community. Certainly, that's one of the hardest things to hear. You want to hear very positive, upbeat, emotionally exciting things. When you hear that there are problems, you should feel the same way. That means that someone is also listening. And I certainly have heard the public when I've spoken with them. I look forward to continuing to work with them in the future as mayor. And certainly that's not an easy challenge to make. You have to stand in front of someone and make yourself available constantly. You have to tell them the good and the bad. And at the end of the day, it has to be a labor of love on your behalf to be able to care about your community more than you care about yourself. And I certainly do. I've been a lifelong volunteer, a public servant in another community, and I look forward to doing the same thing here in Converse. Thank you all for coming out this evening.
Thank you. Mark Gilbert.
Once again, I want to thank all of the residents who showed up here tonight. This is one of the best audiences we've had for Meet the Candidates that we've had in years. This is very exciting to see. It shows that some word is getting out to the people. The residents are getting more involved, and we appreciate that because that helps us do our job. The main question I have as a mayor to myself is asking residents, what matters to you? That's what drives me to do what I do. From the time I started volunteering with the city 13 years ago to now where I'm asking for your vote as mayor, to be mayor. We have a wonderful city. I love this city. We have so many things that bring quality of life to all of the residents, to all the potential residents. Our library is one of the best in the state. We have wonderful parks. The Shoe and Shale, as was mentioned earlier, Shoe and Shale Park is a diamond in the rough. We have to find a way to continue to grow that, to make that a destination for here in the city. We have our senior center. We have our community center. We're growing. We need to continue that. We cannot stop. We cannot stagnate. As mayor, that is my charge. to move forward the city to the best possible future that we can have. Thank you all again for showing up here tonight, and thank you all online for watching. I truly appreciate you all.
Mayor Suarez?
Okay, this election is about proven leadership. It's about what has been done so far. Okay, let me remind you. When I started, Kitty Hawk was 2 lanes. South Seguin Road was 2 lanes. Rocket Lane was 2 lanes. 1604 was 2 lanes. That was done by the teams that I had in place that got it done. And we had the original City Hall across the street. We have a new one. We had the old fire station. We have the new one, the new central station now. We improved the streets, $10.1 million. We improved the parks, invested $1 million. All that was done under our tenure. Did I do it? No, we have a good team. I work under a team concept. You know, and that's how I've always worked here, and that's how I will continue to work. We mentioned Tupper Wine Road. I don't know why it wasn't mentioned. We do have existing project for Tupper Wine Road. We had MPO project that's been approved by the state, where the city pays 20% and the state pays 80%. We do have a project. Unfortunately, we have to wait till they fund it, and that's what we're doing. So it is funded already. We do have money to fix Tupper Wine. We just have to decide how we're going to go. So, and then Ben Zingelman, which is now Walsham, 3/4 of the way done. That is a developer project that was built in conjunction with the TERS out there, Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, that was put out there by solar panels. And the road's going to come out on 1516. It's going to be Walsham, and it's being built by the developer. And we had some challenges of landowners. We had to go to court and purchase the land, and that's what the delays were. But we're going to get it done. Now, for me, I want to continue what we started. You know, Tupper Wine. I just started Tupper Wine, and I helped get it funded, and then I want to finish it. You know, I got the other ones finished. We got the other ones finished, and I want to be able to do this one. You know, the population has tripled in size since I've been here, from 11,000 to 35,000 estimated. That doesn't happen that happens for a reason. You know, it happens from working a lot of hours, planned responsible growth. And we're doing all this with a reasonable low property tax rate. We're lower tax rate than some of the other cities surrounding us. We're able to do that because we have a great staff that only spends what needs to be spent. We have enough police officers. That was mentioned. We do. I don't dictate as mayors to tell you you need to hire more police officers. We need to hear from the chief. And when the chief's not asking for police officers, you know, he's not going to get any police officers. We can't force him to take police officers. Same thing with the fire department. We basically approve the budget based on the request by the police department, and the police department's not requesting any officers. And they wanted vehicles, they wanted motorcycles, and that's what we gave them. So in closing, we continue to support the staff and continue to hold people accountable, because that's what I do, and we have a lot of commitment to the city here. All our employees, we're going to continue that. And I will say, I get a lot of calls from citizens. You know, a lot of calls from citizens. They say, "Who do I support?" And I'm going to tell you who I support. I support Renee Pichelle, Robert Rainey, Stacey Adams. And I don't dislike the others. Those are my preferences. I'd be glad to work with anybody that's elected, but these are my preferences. Thank you.
Thank you. John Shadron?
We've come a long way in this campaign, and I appreciate you all coming out tonight to listen to the different candidates. I myself have served as Mayor Pro Tem. I've served on almost every commission. And the heart of all this, the simple truth is, it's time for new leadership in Converse. Leadership that listens, leadership that respects, leadership that brings people together, not divide them. We are a growing city with growing needs, and the challenge we face today demand a leader who understands the importance of collaboration, not just with you, the citizens, but with our city council and many dedicated individuals who serve this community every day. Let's be honest, as you deserve honesty, not politics. There's 4 of us running: Shadron, Suarez, Gilbert, and Silvas. One of those candidates has lost the trust and respect of the majority of city council. That's not rumor, that's reality. And you can't lead effectively if those around you can no longer follow. Another candidate has never served on any Converse commission, not a single one, yet he's running as for mayor. Public service is a commitment, not a campaign slogan. If elected, I will lead with transparency, humility, and accountability. I will listen not just to those who agree with me, but to every voice in our community. I will work side by side with City Council, staff members, business leaders, neighborhood advocates, and you to make Converse safer, smarter, and stronger. The past may have brought us here, but the future, our future, demands new energy, fresh ideas, and honest leadership. So as you head to the polls, I ask for your vote, not just for me, but for a better Converse, a united Converse, a future we can all believe in. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the candidates for their participation, the audience for their participation, and a reminder now, it's up to you, the voters. Early voting begins on Monday the 20th, runs through the 31st. Election Day is November the 4th, first Tuesday after the first Monday. Reminder, you may choose one or the other to vote in, and I wish you all luck.
Thank you, Dr. Yao.
Maybe we'll get a new mayor out.